Time now for our rants and raves of the week. I'm going to start with Callie, though.
I have a qualified rave for what reporters did at Ted Cruz's announcement speech at Liberty College. As you know, it was a mandatory event for students. They used a social media program called Yik Yak, which is only available in a small area, about a 10-mile radius, because the speech was mandatory and it was presumed that most kids there didn't have a chance to really say what they felt if they didn't agree with that. The reporters contacted students anonymously, that's how Yik Yak works, and got them to say, hey, are you happy to be there or not? And some of them made it quite clear they were not. Somebody said, worst TED Talk ever, getting tired of Cruz's Imagine a President refrain, did John Lennon write this speech or what? You know, on and on and on. So, of course, that's not representative of all the students who were there, as is all the students there were not representative of everybody else. I thought this was a good way of getting around when they try to close off conversation from people we're trying to get access to. It's a qualified rave because the anonymous part makes me a little queasy, just a little bit, because that could be used as an opportunity to just pile on for somebody for no reason. And so I think if using it, reporters have to be careful.
All right, so Dan.
I have a rant for the New York Times and BuzzFeed, which are the two leading news organizations that have agreed to let Facebook publish their content in full in some new kind of partnership. As we all know, what news organizations do now is you post a link in an excerpt to Facebook, you encourage a conversation. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Facebook's got their agenda, you've got your agenda, but you keep your own identity. I think that by agreeing to let some of their content be hosted on Facebook in full, it's one of those things where they're going to say, well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. It reminds me of what people used to say about Microsoft. We're going to embrace, extend, and extinguish.
Or the AOL MSNBC merger, or whatever that was.
Yeah,
was a disaster.
exactly. I think it will prove to be a mistake.
And here's the thing, as it is, when people post on Facebook, you know, my friends who are avid Facebook users, I say, well, where'd that come from? I don't know. So you lose all your branding. What do you mean you don't know? I don't know. I just read it. It was interesting.
Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
None of my friends know where anything came from when they get, you know, reports. And that to me is, you know, it makes a difference for me. Where does it come from?
Me too.
You know,
well, at least on Twitter, if there's a little link that always tells you where it's from.
Yep.
There you go.
I don't read stuff off Facebook. Hello, Dante, next.
My rant is for brothers Tucker and Buckley Carlson of the Daily Caller, who on Wednesday set, I think, an unbreakable record for worst handling of a correction. Amy Spitalnik, who is the spokeswoman for New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, wrote to point out a fairly routine error in a story. And this found its way to Tucker Carlson, the founder of the conservative news website, who emailed back saying that Spitalnik's tone was whiny and annoying. And he blind copied it to his brother, apparently to brag about how he had told Amy Spitalnik off. In a feat of bro one-upmanship, the brother, Buckley, replied all with a bunch of slurs, I guess you'd call them, that were very bizarre, very sexist, and very anatomical about Amy Spitalnik. This all, of course, inevitably ended up on BuzzFeed. The Daily Caller ended up having to do a correction, as they should have, but at the cost of, at the cost of their own reputation. So it was a terrible episode.
Yeah, correct.
That's contextual sexism, by the way.
No, this wasn't even contextual.
No, this was not. This was no context needed.
You know, okay, very good.
I have a rant against the out-of-control media practice of just going hog wild over anything that's viral, which shows you how old and out of touch I am. In my day, viral meant you had to stay home from school. See this picture here? It's someone did a really bad parking job. Well, it turns out that someone was Eleanor Holmes Norton, the delegate to Congress from the District of Columbia. And some guy caught this picture with his smartphone from his office window, leaked it to roll call. Next thing you know, it's a big episode, and they claim that she damaged the cars next to her, which turned out, I guess, not to be true. Wow. And the Fox affiliate in Washington did a whole story about this, interviewing Eleanor Holmes Norton and everything. I just don't know what to say. This is not a story, let alone something
I can't stand
viral.
people who bark like that.
Well, okay,
Come to
but
my street.
when
Oh my
this
God.
is news has lost all
okay.
meaning.
Did you move a space saver to take the spot?
No, maybe that was
All
the
right.
space saver.
I have a rant also. I mean, there's this tragic story, of course, about the airplane, the German airlines that went down over the Alps. But last night, several news outlets, most notably CNN, did recreations or reenactments. And here's a little bit of what CNN did. This is the pilot allegedly knocking on the door, and it's the most bizarre, you know, and hokey and awkward, and that's not the way you would do it if you were trying to bang on the door. And it went on, and you'd be banging with both fists, and you'd be talking, by the way, when you were at it. I saw that earlier yesterday. I said, well, what is that? It's just so strange and tacky at the same time.
NBC did a good one.
This is
And MSNBC did another bizarre one.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of when they had the hologram. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to use
All right,
it.
that's our show. Tell us what you think. Email us, tweet us, or leave us a comment. We're always on at beatthepress.org.